Hello, my name is Professor John Benjamin, and this is Motion Graphics. This is lesson 5, and in this lesson we'll show you how to create 3D objects and how to group and parent. All right, let's begin. All right, as usual, you probably want to start a new project for each of these. And so I named this one Motion Graphics 5 3D and Parenting. You can name it what you want. We're going to call this main comp and hit OK. Okay, so I'm going to put some type on here. I'm going to go to my text tool, and I'm just going to type in the letters number 3 and D, and I'm going to choose a better typeface. One of my favorites I'm going to keep going back to is Azo sans Uber. You're fine. And I'm going to go ahead and make that bigger. Now remember, one of the easy ways to make things bigger or smaller, in type you can go here. You can also just hit scale, and then you can just scrub the size. All right, so why don't we just, that looks pretty big right there. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and type an ampersand. And then I'm going to type parenting. All right, so we've got 3D and parenting. All right. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is parent these together. All right, I'm going to show you how that works. So, to parent, you need to create, I can parent these two objects to this one, but typically what you want to do is create what's called a null object. So let's do that. So we're going to go up to Layer, New, and Null Object. All right, and what's a null object? It's just that. It's a non-object, if you will. But you can control and manipulate it. So here we have null 1, we have parenting and 3D. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose, we want to put these in kind of the order that they occur too. So I'm going to put these in order. So over here, I'm going to go to Parent and Link. Now, if you don't see this in your timeline, then you can go ahead and you can turn things on and off in this timeline by coming over here to your source name, right-clicking, and saying columns, and then you can turn on or off a lot of varieties of different options here. And you just want to make sure that you have Parenting and Link checked. See, if it's unchecked, yours might look like this. So again, just right-click, columns, and Parenting and Link. Now, there's also these little buttons down here that will add different and close up different options to make more or less room. All right, great. So I'm going to go ahead and select null 1 for 3D, the ampersand, null 1, and parenting, null 1. All right, so what did we just do? What does this mean? So now I can go to the null, and I can hit position, and I can scrub it. Oh, look at that. They all move together. That's really excellent. All right, so why is this really helpful? Well, I'll show you for a number of reasons. But so for instance, one thing I can do is I can manipulate each of these and they'll all still be grouped together in the null. But they can also work independently. So let's say 3D for instance. So let's say I want 3D to suddenly appear. So I'll use opacity and I'll hit the stopwatch and make a keyframe there. And I'm going to go back and change that to 0. All right, so 3D just sort of pops in. And let's say parenting, I want that to pop in using a mask. So I'm going to go ahead here, draw a mask. And like before, I got to make sure that that's right above parenting. Select parenting, go to layer, track matte, alpha matte, and then I'm going to go ahead and move parenting, let's say right about here. I'm going to say position, keyframe, keyframe, and then I'm going to go back and change the position here. I'm just going to scrub it down. All right, so we've got this comes in, and maybe we'll just leave the ampersand there. Okay, and then let's say I want, well, let's animate the ampersand too. Let's just have it pop in. So like right about there, it's going to pop in. So now we've got 3D fades in, ampersand pops in, and then parenting comes up. All right, and as always, though, you want to go ahead, especially with anything with position, you want to go ahead and do an easy ease, and probably just again throw in a motion blur. Okay, and now I want, let's say, that whole group to leave the stage. So I can go to the null object, and again, remember U, so I can just hit U to close everything up. All right, and go to my null, and I'm going to change its position. And so here, right about there, I'll put a keyframe, and then another one here. And I want it to leave the stage. So at that moment, I'm just going to go ahead and scrub it. Pardon me. Scrub it to the right. And now I didn't parent the shape layer, the mask. So I've got to go ahead here and undo that, because now the mask is not parented. All right, so we're going to go ahead and parent that to null 1. So now I can just go back and then scrub this position, you can see, and scrub this one, whichever one I want, and they're going to work together. Okay, and that's how the beauty of the null. So again, we start off here, 3D and parenting, they all leave together. But now notice only parenting has the motion blur, and they're all moving. So now we're going to have to give the motion blur to the ampersand and to 3D. There we go. All right, and that's how parenting and null objects work. And there's many, many possibilities. We'll use them a lot in this course. But let me show you now how to make something 3D. So I think to do that, yeah, well, why don't we'll use the same null object right here. I'm going to move these two keyframes up a little bit, because before we want it to slide off, we're going to change it to 3D. Okay, so in order to work in 3D, you have to turn on the 3D switch. So that's right here. You see this little cube here. So I'm going to have to turn that on for the null, and I'm going to have to turn it on for all of my objects as well. So everything's 3D now. Okay, and you can see I have the X, Y, and Z arrows here. So now if I open up null, you can see I've got X, Y, and Z rotations. You can experiment with that. And so here you can change the whole X rotation. I'm going to hit undo, Y, and then Z. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and at this point I think I want it to rotate using the Y. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the stopwatch and move up a little bit, add another keyframe, and then go back using my arrow. And so I'm going to have it start off at an angle like this, and then go back flat before it leaves. All right, so let's play that through. 3D appears, and ampersand parenting, and goodbye. Great. So that's all we have for today. So go ahead and make sure that you export that and as a .mov, and good luck on your assignment.